main RPG games of the Pokémon franchise have been loved by consumers, critics, and of course, millions of fans for years now. That legacy continues with the first 3DS installments, Pokémon X and Y. For this review, I will be playing Pokémon Y. Pokémon X and Y take place in the Kalos region. As always, you set off from your home in a small town on a big journey as encouraged by the Pokémon Professor, this time being Professor Augustus Sycamore. The goal of this journey is to discover and catch Pokémon you encounter, and battle with these Pokémon, rising through the ranks to become a Pokémon Master. Pokémon X and Y pick up from what Black and White version achieved in presentation, creating a Pokémon world expanding beyond the Pokémon RPG experience we're already used to. The gym leaders are given much bigger and more interactive roles than just checkpoint figures you defeat along the way. At some points in the game, you can even ride Pokémon. Again, part of the game was creating a broad world to experience. In terms of graphics, we see much sharper textures, from the in-game characters, the Pokémon, and the 3D model environments, to the open-world cinematics and battle cinematics and animations. Since X and Y are the only first main Pokémon RPG games on the 3DS, it's too early to judge whether or not this is the best they will look on the 3DS. In the meantime, it sure is a good place to start. The gameplay formula and mechanics remain virtually unchanged as always in the franchise. You will encounter, defeat, and capture new and past generation Pokémon as you explore the open world. You will also encounter trainers that will challenge you to Pokémon battles. Each battle has the same objective: knock out the other player's Pokémon with yours, taking stats, movesets, and type advantages into account. The new Mega Evolution mechanic is really cool. Not only does it make your Pokémon stronger, it's also a nice way to bring back some of the old favorites. The overall Pokémon experience has been improved with the little tweaks here and there. Players can now move in all 8 directions using the circle pad, which is completely optional to the traditional 4-direction movement with the D-pad. In the past, your Pokémon only gained experience points by defeating Pokémon. Now they can gain experience when fighting Pokémon you capture too. The new Sky Battles are a nice addition, but it's illogical that only some Pokémon can participate despite Pokémon types that can logically fly. In the 60+ hours of single-player gameplay, Pokémon X and Y players can also make the experience their own. You can customize your character with in-game clothes and accessories, outfits that let your character stand out from other Pokémon X and Y players. Players can also create their own trainer PR videos, short movies that introduce players to each other and can be shared with other X and Y players you pass by. Also a neat feature is taking pictures of your trainer at select in-game locations. Coming from an amateur photographer, I am more than happy to welcome the camera settings. Players can change things like the aperture, focus, and zoom to get the image they want. The new interactive feature Pokémon Ami lets you play with the Pokémon in your party, as well as play fun minigames that boost friendships with them. Super Training is another feature. This one helps boost Pokémon stats, and another cool way to do so aside from Pokémon battles. The new player search system makes local and online connectivity much easier than before. Simply by selecting a feature, then connecting to the internet, you can battle or trade with Pokémon X or Y users near you or from anywhere in the world. As you pass by other players, you can activate O powers that give them boosts, such as more attack and defense power. I don't see the point of trading Pokémon with Wonder Trade though. I especially do not want to give away my best ones without knowing what Pokémon I will get in return. Pokémon X and Y are also the first Pokémon games to be compatible with Pokémon Bank, an annually paid service that lets you store any Pokémon in your possession, including those transferred from previous Pokémon games with the Poké Transfer tool. The minimal use of Spot Pass and Street Pass is still a viable use. You receive news and notifications of the latest Pokémon events and tournaments via Spot Pass. With every Pokémon X and Y owner you encounter on Street Pass, you earn Pokémiles that can later be redeemed for in-game items. Also, without giving too much away, you'll find the game is a bit easier than previous Pokémon games. It's still a fun ride, but by the time you finish the game, even veteran Pokémon players will be left craving more of a challenge. Each generation of Pokémon RPG games introduces a step forward in the series, and Pokémon X and Y is no exception. In an ever-expanding Pokémon RPG universe and on an amazing handheld console, there hasn't been a better time to enter the world of Pokémon until now. Pokémon is as addictive and fun to play as ever. Whether you're in for the single-player experience or to battle and trade with your friends and other Pokémon X and Y owners, pick this game up today. I give my version, Pokémon Y, rated E for comic mischief and mild cartoon violence, an excellent 9 out of 10.